I've got something to talk about today, and it might be a little bit hard. Turns out that it's all fake. I've just been pulling your leg this entire time. So I'm going to tell you all about it, and I don't think that you want to miss it. My name is Brad Paquette, and this is the Company Podcast. So I might have a confession to make. It's all an elaborate bait and switch. This whole thing, everything we've been doing here. See, we tell our apprentices that they are coming to the company to Cambridge, Ohio to become professional writers. Okay, I mean, that's true. We do actually do that, and they actually do that. But it's actually not what's most important to me. The most important thing to me is to see that their lives change and to see them radically set on fire for Jesus. The most important thing for me is to see them filled with the Holy Spirit. I don't know if you noticed, but writers can be a shy bunch. Most of our apprentices that come and join us here at the company in Cambridge, Ohio, are college aged. They're just leaving home for the first time. Sometimes my wife, Melissa, calls them baby adults. But here's the thing. They come to us and a lot of times they're shy. They're just, starting their first foray out into the world. But by the time they leave, they pray with power. By the time they leave here, they know how to lead and teach small groups with a moment's notice. I mean, literally, I can say, Noah, this afternoon, I want you to lead a small group, and he is ready to go for that. And while I believe that our journey to intimacy with Jesus never really ends until we get to heaven, these apprentices leave fully immersed in God's love. They know who they are and whose they are. And that's so, so important. You see, what we do here, we're not just raising up keyboard warriors. We're raising up disciples who can do the work of the gospel. And we're raising them up in such a way that they can do it without having a panic attack. I tell you that because our mission is a lot bigger than just changing some unsuspecting kid's life. When we talk about what we do here at the company, we typically focus on the impact that the things that we write has on culture, has on big audiences. We're talking about the millions of people that our apprentices reach with their stories, the millions of people that the writers that we train in our other programs and that we give resources to. We're talking about all the people that they reach and what a big impact that is. Our mission is about a redeemed American media that serves the kingdom. And so most of the time in the language that we use and the things that we write, the things that we say on our podcast, that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. But I don't want to lose focus on the fact that changing some kid's life is also actually really important, especially if you're that kid. The work that we're doing at the company here is changing lives. It changes our apprentices' lives dramatically. It brings the gospel to places that it hasn't reached before. And we also provide support and resources for the wider community of Christian writers. I mean, to me, that's a win, win, win. The people that we help other people who help other people. That's awesome. I mean, we really can't beat that kind of return on investment. And today, I want to ask you to be a part of it. I want to ask you to help us out. So when Melissa and I started this ministry almost 7 years ago, we used to fundraise a lot. We spent a lot of time seeking money, and that was important. That was an important phase that we were in because we needed to pay for buildings and we needed to find a salary so that we could do this full time and all those kinds of things. But about 2 years ago, we made some big changes to the way that our ministry is organized. And at that time, we decided that we weren't going to have that emphasis on fundraising anymore, but that we would only ask for money one time per year. We decided that that time would be November. And here we are. So over the next few weeks, if you're on our email list, you're going to get a few emails about fundraising. But I promise that once December rolls around, you're not going to get those anymore. We only fundraise this one time of year, unless there's some special project that comes along. For instance, Noah got hit by a car last year. So we did send out some fundraising emails on his behalf around that time. But what we do here costs money. It's a simple fact of life. Most of the work that we do here is self-sustainable, and that's really our goal. It's paid for by things like tuition. It's paid for by the contract work that our apprentices do as they learn different writing and publishing production skill sets. And we also have a few longtime supporters, patrons, if you will, that support the work that Melissa and I do, and in turn have supported the work of the company here. But even with all that funding, every year there's a gap. And that's where this fundraising comes in. That's where you come in. This year, we need to raise about $23,000 to fill that gap. Now, that might sound like a lot, but in fundraising terms, it's really not. Think about this: 200 new members to our website at $10 per month completely covers that gap. 20 people who would sign up and agree to give $100 per month completely satisfies that gap. In fact, if just one person could give $1,000 per month, it's more than half of that gap expense that's already covered. And realistically, it's a combination of those things: new members, new donors, and maybe some big donors that come along as well. Our emailing list alone goes out to about 4,000 people. And when we send out newsletters and things, about 1,000 people or so will actually open them and read them. If all of those people just gave $25 one time, we would completely bridge that gap. So even though $23,000 sounds like a lot, if I just handed you $23,000, that'd be pretty exciting for you, I'm sure. When we think about it in an organizational context, in a fundraising context, it's actually really, really accomplishable. So at the company here, we presently have one full-time employee. That's me. And then we also have 5 part-time individuals on the payroll in various roles. With that staff and with the resources that we have, we completely train our full-time apprentices every year, but we also support thousands of writers through all the online programs and resources that we have at writers.company and around social media and all these different places. One of the most important things about the fundraising that we do is it allows us to keep our tuition reasonable. Our apprentices travel to the company in Cambridge, Ohio from all over the country. I mean, literally east to west coast, we have people come to Cambridge. And they do that because they're serious about this mission that God has laid on their heart. They're serious about this thing that they want to do. That's a big expense for somebody to move across the country. And it's actually a lot less than somebody has to pay for college. But that's not even a good comparison because the college system, in my opinion, is so broken at this point. But nonetheless, we want to respect, that those apprentices have a lot of expense to move here and to live here, to meet their regular food and housing and shelter expenses while they're here. So we do our best to keep that tuition as reasonable as possible. And the fact that we have donors and members that come along and support the work that we do really makes that possible. So there are a few really easy ways that you can help the company. The first one is that you can become a paid member of the company. For just $10 a month, you can support the work that we do. And then as a bonus, you also get access to all of the stuff that we have available on our website. That's stuff like the Podcast Institute, the full suite of ARC Year courses, all the Novel Matrix courses, the 4-step manuscript revision plan, and so much other stuff. So that's really a win-win just for you. You win in that you get to support this mission, but you also get a bunch of resources that may be helpful for your writing journey. Second way that you can give is just give a one-time gift. Whether it's $10 or $10,000, every little bit helps. You can go to our website, writers.company/give, and you can make a donation today, and that goes so far. The third way that you can help is you can become a monthly donor. So we have several people that support us on a monthly basis. And that's really helpful because it gives us predictable income that we can use throughout the year. And the thing is that even an amount that might seem insignificant to your regular household budget adds up over the course of the year. So something like $20. A lot of Americans could spend $20 and not really notice it. Not that all of your money isn't valuable, but you probably spend $20, going out to lunch by yourself sometimes for a lot of Americans. And so if there's an insignificant amount that will fit into your budget that you could support this mission with, it really adds up. That $20 a month turns into $240 over a year. And that literally changes what we can do around here and the amount of impact that we can have. So same story there. Go to writers.company/give if there's a monthly amount that you could support the company with, whether it's $5, $10, $100, $1,000, whatever it is. Please go there and make that commitment today. As a bonus, all of the merchandise on our website, when we sell that, it also helps to support the work that we do here. So the cool thing there is you buy a cool T-shirt or a baseball hat or a notebook, buy it for yourself, give it as a gift this Christmas. Give it to that writer that you're shopping for, but you also support the work of the company here. So you can find that. Go to writers.company/store, or if you just go to our website, there's a button for the store as well. If by chance you'd like to make a larger gift, like maybe you're in charge of a fund for a foundation, or you own your own company, or you're part of another organization, and you'd like to make a large gift, please reach out to us at info@writers.company, or give us a call at the number on the website. And, we'd love to just chat with you about that. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. And this is the part that you're not supposed to say when you're trying to raise money. And that's that we don't actually need your money. But I think it might be important for you to give it. So there's this old adage in missions that we say, and it's some give by going, others go by giving. And what that means is we're here doing the work. That's our job in this mission. But there's another way that you can be involved, just as involved in the impact that we're having and the work that we're doing. And that's by giving financially to the work that we're doing. Paul, there's this verse in Philippians, it's 4:17, where Paul tells his friends, not that I need the gift, but I seek the fruit that increases to your credit. And in a lot of ways, I think that's the case here. We will really benefit from funds that you give. It's not that it wouldn't be super helpful for us, or that gap isn't real. But the fact is that God will supply our needs. I fully believe that. The question is whether it comes through you or whether it comes through some other source. And if it comes through you, the cool thing is that you get to share in the blessing of this ministry. You get to share, I think, in the eternal rewards of the work that we're doing here. And that's cool for you. Especially if you are a writer or you are someone who is passionate about a changed, redeemed media in America, this is a way that you can really get on board. That heart that you have to see better books, to see better writers, to see more stuff out there that you don't feel icky about watching or reading or whatever. This is how you apply that heart sometimes, is you can get involved at this level. So if you feel God calling you to support changing the lives of blooming writers, then this is an opportunity for you to participate. If you feel like God is calling you to be a part of a redeemed American media, again, this is a way that you can be a part of that. If you are an aspiring writer and you want to engage in this industry, maybe this is a way that you can take a small step of faith and put a little skin in the game. You can say, yeah, I'm willing to put $10 a month on the line because I believe in this. I know that our needs around here at the company will be met. Again, when I say that we don't need it, I don't mean that I'm making that up, that we have that budget gap. I don't mean that it won't be like super helpful and change our impact, but I mean that whether you give it or not, I trust that God is going to fully meet our needs because he always has. As I look back on our budget, this is our 7th year in this ministry. We can look back at the ministry's budget, and Melissa and we can look at our household budget, and sometimes the math just doesn't work. I don't. I mean that genuinely. I don't even get how we were able to pay all the bills, how the ends meet, how all that worked out. But somehow or another, God moved, and all the pieces were fulfilled. We were able to do all the things that we were able to do. When God is involved, and I firmly believe that God pays for what he orders. And so when we're doing our best to walk in the mission that God has given us, we can operate in that trust. And so I come to you with there is a real, that gap is real. It is an opportunity for you to give. It will matter if you give, but at the same time, I know that God will take care of us with or without anybody's support. So the question for you is if you want to participate in a faith level, in a financial level with this particular ministry. You know, if we don't close that gap, if we don't raise that $23,000, that would be very, very helpful. The fact is that we'll probably just do less stuff around here. We'll scale back some of what we do and some of what we can offer to the writing community, and it'll still be fine. We'll still perform our core function because frankly, I will do that no matter what. Even if I don't get a salary and I have to live in a car and feed my family spaghetti every day, we will continue to do this ministry. We will continue to perform that core function that we are confident that God has called us to. So that's not what it's about, but we would have to scale some stuff back if we can't fill that gap. But I also think that that's the really cool part. There are some ministries and nonprofit organizations out there that are so large that you give $100 or even $1,000, and it's just a drop in the bucket. Again, not like they're not using it well or it doesn't help, but it's you're not even a percentage point on the scale. You give $10,000 and not even change a percentage point in their budget that year. It really is just a drop in the bucket of what they're doing. When you give to the company, or really lots of small ministries like us, it's not just a drop in the bucket. When you give $100, you actually put us in a position to do $100 more work. You put us in a position to have $100 more impact in the world. We're not some multi-million dollar organization where it all sort of just washes out and we're looking at like year-end charts and graphs of millions of dollars. Even a small donation means that we have more impact in the world. When we called ourselves the company, part of that is because the company, by definition, just a company is a group of people that are working together towards a common goal. If you look up company in the dictionary, that's what you're going to find. And we chose that name because this ministry isn't just like the ministry of Brad and Melissa, or even just the ministry of Brad and Melissa and the apprentices here in Cambridge, Ohio. This is the ministry of everybody who's involved with it. This is the ministry of all of our members. This is the ministry of everybody who chooses to participate with it. So you choose whether you're part of the company by things like this. By did you become a member? By are you financing part of what we're doing here? By are you participating in the contests and the publishing opportunities in the other things that we're doing? You choose to be a part of the ministry by participating with all of those different things. For some people, financial support is the role that you can play as part of this company. Here's one thing to think about. Paul says that we were all parts of one body, but that each person, each member of the body has a different role and a different function. A foot can't say to the eye, we don't need you. The eyeball can't say to the neck, I wish you weren't here. We all need each other. And in the company right now, I get to play the part of being the director. That's my job. And right now, I'm just reaching out to you to see, would you be willing to play the part of financier? And really, it's not like one part is better than the other. Director doesn't come above financier in the kingdom. Director doesn't come above student or writer. We are all equal components of the kingdom because we are all necessary to each other. Just like I need my apprentices just as much as they need me, because without apprentices, what good is an instructor? And what good is it to be an apprentice if you don't have an instructor? And so, by the same way, again, I get to be the director. Maybe your role is to be a financier. And that's not lesser, it's not greater. It's just a different part of the body. It's a different way that you can participate in the company, that you can be a part of what we're doing here. So, here's all I ask. I want you to consider what we do here at the company, and I want you to pray. I simply want you to ask God if supporting this work that we do here, whether that's a big way or a little way, ask God if that's a role that He has for you right now. And if He says yes, just want to encourage you to trust Him because that's what we do here and it always works. So take that time to pray, take that time to ask God, and then head over to writers.company/give. And you'll find all those ways that I talked about. You can become a member. You can give a gift one time. You can set up a monthly thing. You can even find a link to our store where you can check out some of the shirts and stuff that we have available. At writers.company/give. Please make that a priority today. Become a financier of the company, participate in the work that we're doing that way. And it really does make a lasting difference in the lives of our apprentices, but also in the lives of the millions of people that their stories will reach over years and years that they'll spend as devoted disciples of Christ, equipped to do the work of the ministry. Thanks for being a part of the company, and thanks for considering that today. Thank you so much for listening today. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen and leave us a review. This podcast was produced by Theo Paquette with help from the company. For help with your podcast, visit writers.company. We'd love to give you a hand.